With pain in her eyes, Samantha, who goes by Sam, begins narrating her love story. She shares how she always thought the kind of high school romance they show in movies is nonsense. She traces back all the madness to Audrey Bellwether's death in a car accident near their school. Audrey was texting and driving when a volleyball hit the fire alarm. Audrey was taken by surprise, resulting in the crash. Sam explains how this incident happened a few weeks before their high school graduation and the start of summer. After a big funeral, twins Tina and Tasha host an exclusive memorial for Audrey. They, along with Sam, were the popular and gorgeous girls of the high school. But after Sam had a fight with Audrey, Tina and Tasha claimed Audrey. In a beautiful setting by the beach, they host a memorial that Sam is surprised to be invited to. The twins act cold to Sam at the memorial, who leaves in frustration. The twins tell all the girls to party hard that summer as Audrey would have wanted that. Sam keeps walking with tears in her eyes till she finds a spot she settles in. Behind her, Henry is writing something in his journal, sitting by the rocks. She asks him if he is writing in a diary and he gets defensive. Sam shares with him how Tina and Tasha are setting her up by inviting her to the memorial nearby. Henry seems hesitant to talk to her, or maybe it's just the glaring sun on his face, but Sam asks him if he knew Audrey. He replies saying he is invisible to girls like Audrey. Sam goes on to explain to Henry that Audrey might have had a reason to snub him. When Sam keeps trying to defend Audrey, he seems frustrated and asks if Sam even knows his name. Sam tells him she knows they went to the same high school and he was the valedictorian. Henry questions if that is all she knows about him and Sam gets frustrated. She tells him he is one of those people who feel like others owe them something and just pushes people away. Henry then makes a joke about how Sam knows everything about humanity, and she replies saying she understands people, and that Henry probably doesn't based on the graduation speech he gave. She tells him not to pretend like a smart person schooling the class bimbo. She then walks away in frustration, while he shakes his head and writes an offensive term in his journal. We see Sam waitressing in a restaurant and delivering orders, when she comes down to sit at a table next to her friends Cleo and Flynn. She describes how she didn't know Cleo that well before Audrey died. But Sam eventually warmed up to the idea of being friends with her since she felt bad as Cleo was the one whose volleyball hit the fire alarm that took Audrey's life. Sam lets out a pretend cough to let Cleo and Flynn know of her presence as they are too involved in each other. Cleo tells her not to be a cynic and that she will be doing the same thing soon. Sam smirks and looks out of the restaurant and spots Mr. Rickett, and she goes out to talk to him. He tells her to call her by his first name Steve since high school is over. She reminds him that he will be her professor after a few months since she has taken up psychology as her major. While they're talking, Henry and his friends drive up to the restaurant, and his friends make fun of Sam, insinuating a relationship between her and Mr. Rickett. Henry defends her and says she is just doing her job. Her friends are surprised that Henry is defending her and tell him that she is very friendly with everyone. Henry dismisses their talk and tells them they believe everything they hear. Sam is closing up and leaving the restaurant at night when Dustin bumps into her. He tries to talk to her when Bailey drives up and asks Dustin if he is staying with her. She heads to her car and starts the engine, but realizes there is something wrong with it. She decides to walk back home instead. As she is walking, Henry comes from behind and offers her a ride. He apologizes for being mean to her earlier at the beach. She sits with him and he asks her about where she is going to college in the fall. She tells him she is staying and will go to Woodland Community. When Sam asks him, he tells her he got into MIT, and Sam is very impressed. He tells her his major is bioengineering. They reach Sam's house and she notices how excited he is about stars and asks if he should consider astronomy instead. He tells her that he will minor in it, but he has chosen bioengineering since it seems more practical. She thanks him for the ride and heads out. Henry follows her and stops her before she enters. He tells her she was right about his graduation speech and that he gave the one his mom wrote for him. Sam tells him not to worry. Henry then hesitates a little and asks for her number. Back in Henry's room, he is seen removing the offensive word from his journal and thinking back on the events of the night. We get to know that Henry had messed with Sam's car and saw her entire interaction with Dustin, with jealousy in his eyes. This is how he knew Sam would be walking back and picking her up. They go roller skating for their first date and enjoy the ring. They play some games when Sam tells Henry she went there last time after her dad died. Henry gets awkward and apologizes, and Sam tells him that he took himself. As they eat, Henry asks her what she will study at Woodland and she tells him that she is interested in psychology and will take a few courses. She tells him that people interest her. They skate and then sit under the stars, and Henry asks her if she has heard about the pillars of creation. He tells her it is the photo from the Hubble telescope which shows the process of stars being created. He tells her it looks like the hand of God. When she asks to see it, he says he has a huge blow-up of it in his room, and he wants her to see it there for the first time. Back outside her house, she thanks him for the fun date and introduces him to her statue, Osmo, under which she keeps her house keys. She wishes him goodnight and goes in, but he pushes the door open and kisses her, before leaving. As she is blushing, Sam's mom comes from behind the door and tells her how she is happy Henry is the first boy who introduced himself to her. She is also very impressed with him because he is going to MIT. As Henry drives away, he watches two boys throwing fireworks. The next day on the beach, Sam discusses Henry with Cleo, who approves of him, and Sam tells her she finds him cute. Cleo wants to know all about Sam's date with him. Cleo thinks it is adorable and asks Sam if things are getting serious. Sam tells her how nice the date was. They discuss how Henry is moving to Massachusetts for college, and Cleo finds it romantic and like a doomed love story. Meanwhile, Henry shows Sam the pillars of creation in his room, and Sam is amazed. Sam and Henry get intimate, and his mom walks in on them. She sees Sam and heads out of the room. Henry and Sam meet his mom to remove the awkwardness, and Sam introduces herself. Sam apologizes, but his mom tells her she should have knocked. She then asks Sam where she is going after graduation. And after hearing about the community college, she has a judgmental look on her face. At the beach, Henry discusses with Sam how his mom is a snob. Sam tells him not to worry, as all moms are the same. And her mom is swooning because Henry is going to MIT. Henry tells her it is not important, but Sam insists that it is a great achievement and he should be proud of it. She tells him she wants to go back in the water, but he decides to stay. Bailey and Dustin tackle and tease Sam while she's headed for the water, and Henry is suddenly about to react. He watches as Sam points toward Henry and tells them she is with him. Meanwhile, Bailey comes towards Henry to shake his hand and ask if he is there with Sam. He bends down towards Henry and mischievously asks if he has given Sam the hiccups yet. Henry is confused while Bailey laughs, and Dustin apologizes to Henry for Bailey being high, and they run away. After that interaction, Henry picks up Sam's phone next to him and does something to it. Henry walks into Sam's restaurant, and Cleo calls him over to sit at the table with her and Flynn. Cleo tells him she wants to thank Henry for making Sam happy. Henry confesses to her that he loves Sam. Cleo tells him about her college plans and how they both plan to share a house. She apologizes for reminding him that he and Sam will not be together because he has to go to MIT. She gets distracted by a burping Flynn, who turns her on. They both jump on each other, and Henry is overwhelmed and disgusted. Henry brings Sam to the community college. They spot Mr. Rickett, who tells them the college is nothing compared to MIT, but asks them to have a good look. Sam asks Henry if he is jealous, and he suddenly becomes alert, but it turns out she is talking about her going to the community college. He tells her not to put herself down and that she can get something good out of it. She calls him sweet for sticking up for her school while they enter the classroom, and Henry starts hyping up the place. Sam is happy about his sweetness and asks him to give the real graduation speech he had planned. He tells her he does not want to give that speech, which was about how meaningless life is. He says he does not believe in it anymore because he has Sam. They manage to enter a pool area even if it is locked at night, and Henry decides to go for a dip. Sam asks him how the water is and jumps in. She jokingly hits him for telling her the water is not cold when it is freezing. They both swim around a little and then find a spot inside the water where she tells him he makes her feel good. He feels happy but has a concerned look on his face. He confesses about the night he loosened the distributor cables in her car to get a chance to talk to her. Instead of reacting as he expected, Sam comes closer to him in the pool. She is aroused, and after a while, she lets out a hiccup. This alerts Henry, and Sam explains that she gets hiccups when she is turned on. They continue to get intimate in the pool and his car when he drops her home. Her mom is lurking near the door again and tells Sam she is happy that she is finally with someone who respects her. She asks Sam if it will be hard for her when Henry goes to MIT. She says it will be, but she cannot put any pressure on him since he is smart and sweet and wants him to be happy. Meanwhile, we see that Henry can listen to her entire conversation as he has tapped her phone. Sam gets a call from Dustin, who invites her to a party at the beach. He tells her who all are there and that she can bring Henry with her. Sam refuses to go that night and tells Dustin he is not allowed to hook up with the twins because of his loyalty toward her. He makes a joke about hooking up with both of them. She keeps the phone and sleeps, and Henry hears her snoring. At the beach, as Bailey is alone, Henry walks up behind him and asks him how he knows about the hiccups. He asks if Dustin told him about that, but Bailey comes close to him and tells him that he has also slept with Sam. Henry gets agitated and reveals a huge brick in his hand. Bailey is shocked as he realizes what is about to happen, and Henry smashes his head and leaves him in the water. Henry reaches home and meets some guests who congratulate him for bagging MIT. When they ask more questions, he makes an excuse to leave and go to his room. He puts on his earphones and listens to Sam breathing and sleeping in her room. The next morning, Sam gets a text and they all meet Dustin near the beach. Dustin tells them what he knows about Bailey's death and that Bailey suddenly disappeared at night till a girl found his body in the water and screamed. He says he tried to save his life but could not. He gets a call from Reggie, whose father is a cop, and he tells them that they suspect foul play, which alerts Henry. Back in her room, Sam hugs her mom and cries about how horrible it is for two people to die like this. Sam tells her that Bailey was cocky, but he was also funny and nice, as Henry listens to the conversation in his house. Henry then calls Sam to ask her for dinner to distract her, but she tells him that people are going to the beach. He reluctantly agrees and offers to pick her up. Henry and Sam walk hand in hand at the beach. A drunk Dustin greets Sam and Henry and tells them that they look cute together. People start playing the guitar when a drunk Dustin snaps and tells the person to stop playing. Sam gets up to take Dustin for a walk away from the crowd. Henry watches her go, fully alert and feeling jealous again. Sam and Dustin discuss last summer when Audrey and Bailey were both alive. As Henry keeps looking at her, Tasha comes up to him and says that Dustin and Sam go way back. She asks him if he likes her and tells him Sam is a free spirit. She then asks him if the cops talk to him, which alerts Henry. She tells him that she thinks she saw him yesterday at the beach. Henry immediately makes an excuse for being at the beach but tells her he was not at the party. She discusses how scary the situation is and also tells him her parents are out of town and subtly invites him over. Henry snorts and says he is with Sam, and Tasha smirks before walking away. Sam and Dustin are heading back towards the crowd from their walk when Dustin asks Sam if she has slept with Mr. Rickett. He teases her playfully about Mr. Rickett wanting to sleep with her. As he pokes her in the stomach, she laughs, but this triggers Henry, who suddenly gets jealous and punches Dustin. As Sam tries to intervene, he also hurts Sam, who falls. Henry realizes what he has done and tries to apologize to Sam as people gather around her. Henry tries calling her but Sam is unreachable. He drives up outside her house and sneakily enters while she is sleeping. As he tries to touch her hair in her sleep, she suddenly wakes up. He tells her he wants to take for hurting her. She does not respond and asks him to leave after giving her the house keys. He hands them back and leaves. Henry recalls his conversation with Tasha and how she thinks she saw him at the beach that night. We see Tasha smoking outside her house when she hears creaking. She gets suspicious and goes back inside. She hears moaning and realizes it is Tina and Dustin. She shakes her head and heads towards her room. As she is changing in her room, she notices someone behind her and screams. Dustin and Tina come out after hearing her scream and she claims someone is in her room. With Dustin in the lead, they head into the room and just find a mannequin. Tina and Dustin make fun of her but Tasha is serious and tells them her window is open and she is sure someone was in her room. The next morning, Sam gets flowers from Henry at work and she tells Cleo how she just wants Henry to apologize to Dustin because his best friend just died, and he punched him. Sam also tells her that she is angry that Henry said he wants to take even after knowing how she feels about her father taking. Henry is listening to this entire conversation. Cleo tells Sam it is kind of romantic and Sam tells her she just does not want any drama. When Cleo asks Sam if she loves Henry, his mom walks in, and in anger, he shouts at her to get out and locks the room. Because of that disruption, he is not able to get Sam's answer. Henry goes to apologize to Dustin, who punches him in the stomach. Dustin accepts his apology and Henry tells him he only did it because he cares about Sam. Sam calls Henry and is happy that he apologized to Dustin. Henry asks her about her chest and also apologizes for saying that he will take after everything with her dad. Sam is happy with his reply and invites him over for the night. As Henry and Sam are in her bed and she takes off her shirt, Henry apologizes for hurting her in her chest. Sam tells him they both hurt each other and should forget it. He tells her he has never slept with someone before, and she smiles and tells him not to worry. He spends the night with her and returns home the next day. He tells his mom he was with her and she slaps him. She tells Henry not to fall for the first girl who gives him attention and that she knows Sam has been with a lot of people. Henry tells her to watch her mouth and we see pure anger in him. His mom is also angry but composes herself by cleaning the kitchen. She tells him to not be distracted because going to college is very important. He looks at her and laughs, before informing her that he dropped out of MIT. Sam and Henry meet at the beach, where Sam knows he dropped out and tells him not to do it. He tells her it was his mom's dream and not his. He tells her he loves her and wants to stay with her. They get close and Sam tells him he does not have to choose between Mitt and her, and that he can have both. He tells her he is choosing her. She sighs and tells him they need to stop seeing each other and he should focus on Mitt. Henry's expression suddenly changes and he gets angry at his mom, knowing that she made Sam do this. Back in his house, he confronts his mom, who is drinking vodka, and tells him to leave the topic till the next day. He looks her in the eye and tells her he could take her life. She is scared about how serious and intense he is. After threatening her, he walks off. Sam is at her restaurant and talking to Mr. Rickett, who orders a meal. Henry suddenly walks in with rage and pushes Mr. Rickett, asking her what he wants from Sam. Henry's madness scares Sam and bothers him, which is why she had also started pulling away. Henry is still angry and manhandles Mr. Rickett, who keeps asking him to calm down, and so does Sam. Henry asks him if he knows about the hiccups and Sam is shocked and scared. He looks at her and she shrugs, conveying to him that she has never slept with him. He wants to talk to Sam but she tells him to leave. In Mr. Rickett's car, he tells Sam he once had a female student he helped out, but she developed an unhealthy attraction towards him and started stalking him. He tells her how it got very ugly and how Henry reminds him of her. He tells Sam to be careful, while Sam tells him Henry is going through a lot. Mr. Rickett urges her to not ignore his behavior and goes for his vape, but his hand brushes against Sam and she can tell he is flirting. Henry is listening on the phone as Sam gets a call from Dustin at night, who is drunk and missing Bailey. Sam is concerned and Dustin tells her he is alone at the park. Sam promises to come to him. She tells him he should not be driving and he jokingly tells her he will not try to hook up with her. Henry is obsessed and jealous, and after listening to this conversation, he approaches Dustin from behind at the park. Dustin is surprised to see him and Henry angrily asks him if he wants Sam all to himself. Dustin is amazed by how jealous Henry is and tells him he doesn't care about anything. Henry's expression then changes and he tells Dustin he is sorry about Bailey. He goes in for a hug and stabs him multiple times with a knife. While Dustin's body is lying on top of him, he hears Sam's voice. He immediately leaves to hide as Sam comes to the park and finds Dustin's body. The next morning, Sam tells Henry how she could see the killer in the woods from a distance. Henry apologizes for his behavior and tells Sam he is just afraid of losing her. Sam's mom tells her that Henry reminds her of her father because he is smart and passionate. She tells him that people like him get obsessed and have a destructive nature. She tells Sam that being with Henry will only make things worse for her. Sam listens to her mom and tells Henry she just wants a friend. He suddenly snaps again, telling her how much he has done for her. Sam has not heard from Henry in 5 days and is worried. She gets a call from him and is excited to hear his voice. He asks her to come over for dinner. He tells her he found a way around Mitt and wants to celebrate with her before leaving. She congratulates him and reaches his house. Henry has cooked for her and they open a bottle of wine and toast to Mitt and Woodland. Henry discusses how it feels like yesterday when they met for the first time, and Sam acknowledges that the summer has been quite messed up. He apologizes for his behavior and tells her he loves her and that his intentions were always good. He tells her he has mailed her something, which will explain a lot to her. Sam is having a good time and uses the washroom. As she is about to head back to the table, she hears some thudding from above and climbs the stairs. From outside a door, she can hear the muffled voices of a woman. Henry approaches her and Sam is scared, but he calmly tells her to go downstairs. Sam knows there is someone in the room, so she just barges in and notices Henry's mom all tied up with a handkerchief on her face. Sam immediately goes to help and untie her, but struggles to cut the ropes on her hands. Henry offers his knife to her, which scares Sam, and says he can get rid of his mom. He explains how he thinks it is all her fault because if she had not broken them up, Dustin would not have died. Sam gets flashes, suddenly realizing how obsessed Henry is with her and how he must have taken Bailey's and Dustin's lives out of jealousy. She instead decides to pretend to be calm and asks him for the knife. He walks over to his mom and cuts the rope on her hands. She goes on to hide behind Sam as Henry tries to approach her. Sam shields his mom from Henry and they manage to escape to Henry's room and Sam locks it, allowing his mom to run away. Henry opens the door and finds Sam. Sam is in shock when Henry tells her they can run away together. He tells Sam that she is very different and she wanted to be with him for a while, and that is enough for him. After saying this, he tells her he loves her instead. Sam screams and rushes towards him, but it is too late. Sam recalls her memories with Henry. After Henry's death, Sam narrates her life as she joins the community college. She feels Henry would have liked it. She starts writing in a diary and talks about the package she got from Henry 2 days after he died. She explains that she kept everything a secret about what all Henry did. She also says she started sleeping with Mr. Rickett 2 weeks after joining the college and admits she liked his attention in school, but nothing had happened. She admits that maybe there is some truth to the movies and you do find the love of your life in high school, referring to Henry. She expresses how she feels about the things Henry wrote about her in his journal. She admits that he saw her like no one else. She says that more than what he did, she regrets not telling him she loved him when there was a chance.